Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another live episode of Women Unleashed, speaking from your heart to create intergenerational transformation. My name is Grace Harris. I'm your host on Women Unleashed, and it is my pleasure today to have a beautiful guest from Canada, Dua. And we're going to be talking about how you can release your limiting beliefs so that you can reinvent yourself. And Dua is a friend of mine, I'd like to say, because we've met now many weeks ago, and we've shared some of her experiences are profound for me because they are experiences that I've had myself. And I feel, without going so deep into that right now, because I like to surprising my audience, is that let me put it this way. I wish that I had heard her message years and years ago as a single parent. So if you are a woman who is a single parent yourself, or a friend or a family member who is a single mom, this message may very deeply resonate with you today. Now, the disclaimer that I like to get started with before we go into the live interview is some of the stories here and some of the questions that I'm going to ask during this interview may be confronting for you. They may trigger you a little bit, but what I'm going to say to you is the reason that's happening is because you are aware that there is some discomfort, that there is some pain, and there is some occurrences in your life that need to be addressed. Now, Du and I, my guests and myself, are here to hold your hand and guide you through how to come out of that experience, or even more so, if you're someone who is already coming out of that experience or have actually come out of the experience already, how you can really elevate yourself so you can further along help others in a similar journey that they may be going through. So this is a highly empowering, highly charged live series, The Women Unleashed, and I honor you for being here today. And so I want to get started by introducing my beautiful guest. Dua Ali is a rapid transformational therapy practitioner. She's the founder of Liberated You. Dua is on a mission to help people free themselves from the limiting beliefs, holding them back and preventing them from living the life they have always wanted. Besides being a rapid transformational therapy practitioner, Dua is also an ESL, or English as a second language teacher, and a federally accredited interpreter in Canada. The thing Dua takes most pride in is being a mother of four wonderful children. And for me, that's the biggest gift as well, being a mom. Dua, welcome to Women Unleashed. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for having me. It's my pleasure.
And the pleasure is mine. The pleasure is ours. So thank you. What I want to get started with is, I guess, I would love for you to give us an explanation of rapid transformational therapy. What is this healing modality?
Rapid transformational therapy is a modern hybrid, award-winning method of therapy that is a combination of the best practices of therapy, including, but not limited to, traditional hypnotherapy, talk therapy, CBT, NLP, neuroscience, and other types of therapy. And it's a huge release and life transformational tool.
Mm. Sounds so good for me. I mean, there are a few abbreviations there, and just for those who are not familiar, CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy, NLP is neurolinguistic programming. Now, these are things that they do sound a little bit technical and scientific, but mind you, I'll give you an example. As an NLP coach, when I was learning neurolinguistic programming, I found that I have been NLPing my way through parenting for decades already before. So they are, once you as Du had said, it's a highly innovative and leading edge kind of hybrid kind of modality. So Dua, I'm so interested in how this affected your healing. But before we go into that, tell me a little bit about your background story on how you found yourself stumbling along looking for a modality that can really help you in what you were going through. What were you going through?
I was going through a tough divorce, and at some point after the separation, I thought to myself, I'm going to make this about me, and I'm going to embark on a healing journey. And that's exactly what I did. So I started to read books for psychologists, spiritual teachers, following spiritual teachers online and watching YouTube videos for them. And then at some point, that helped me a lot. And at some point, I thought to myself, that's what I thought then. I'm in a place where I can help others pick themselves up, and that's when I found RTT. I was one of the teachers I was following. What is Marissa Peer, the creator of the RTT method? And here I am browsing through Instagram, and then I watch a video of Marissa Peer inviting people who feel that this is their calling to apply to the RTT course. And then after watching the video, I thought to myself, that's for me. That's my calling. I want to do this. That's what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I filled the application, and then after a week or two, they called me. They had a phone interview with me that lasted for about 45 minutes or an hour, because they don't just accept anyone to the course. And then at the end, they told me, no, we really want you on board. You have it in you, and you're really good at communication, so we want you. And I started the course. The course should be, so you take the course on your own pace, but it should be between 6 months and 1 year. I finished the course in 9 months, got certified, and launched my business.
Mm.
So and then after I joined the course, I thought, as I just mentioned, I thought that I'm in a place where I can help others pick themselves up. I found out that I still have a lot of healing to do. Now, wait a minute. There's a lot of work to be done here.
Mm. Yes, I totally resonate with that. Thank you for sharing. I mean, what I hear from you when you share that story is that you made a decision. You made this decision. What you said to me, I went through a tough divorce, and then you wanted to make it about you. That's powerful. You know, I follow a certain influencer. Her name is Glennon Doyle. For those of you who are not familiar who she wrote the book Untamed, I think. But anyway, in one of her keynote speeches, she shared that she was going through a tough separation. And then she went to see her therapist. And this is the thing that she said is that I need you to help me make this pain useful. I need to make this pain. It's so painful that it has to be put to good use. And I think it's similar to what you did, is that you made a decision, this has to be about me. And I emphasize this, Dua, and for everyone who's listening, because divorce looks so different for everyone. In a way that for some women it's so liberating. Oh, it's been a long time coming. Ta-da, finally, thank you very much. You know, it could be that. But for many of us, divorce is a dream that has been lost. Like it's the dream of the white picket fence, the happy family, and the dream of the happy ending, the dream of a good life. And it's divorce is like the culmination of the whole world crashing. It can feel like that. It does feel like that. I've been through it. And so there, like you said, so went through an interview. You became, you were really highly sought out as a rapid transformational therapy practitioner in the making. But what you've discovered was that, hang on, it's not a one point kind of tada, I'm all done. It's a healing journey. And I think this is why you and I are talking here together, because you're passionate about helping others release their limiting beliefs. Tell me,
Exactly.
what is a limiting belief?
A limiting belief is any negative belief that one formed about themselves because of a certain experience or event, a past experience or event that they went through, usually during childhood. Sometimes it can be during adulthood. And then, boom, they make a decision about themselves, such as, for example, I'm not lovable because their parents, for example, didn't show love to them, or love is not available to me, again, because nobody loved me, or my parents didn't love me, or I'm not worthy, or I'm not enough because when they were children, they were asked to be really good at school or always A students, and whatever they do, they have to do more and offer more. So they feel that I'm not enough, nothing is enough, and I have to have more. So this is what a limiting belief is. And then when people have those limiting beliefs and they make those decisions about themselves, it does not serve them at all. It does not benefit them, and it can cause them a lot of issues, a lot of issues that we suffer from as adults, whether it be a bad habit, addiction, things that we want to, habits that we want, even habits that we want to acquire, they are caused by limiting beliefs. So this is what I do during the session, that I dig deep to find out what is the root cause. When did that person acquire that belief or made that decision about themselves? Because when we come to life as babies, we don't have negative beliefs about ourselves. We think we're perfect and the world is perfect, and so there's nothing wrong with us. But eventually, as we grow up and as we interact with the world and adults around us, we start to form beliefs about ourselves. And not all of the time, those beliefs are not always good for us.
Hmm. Thank you for sharing. I think I'll use a very, very mild word here, which is annoying. The most annoying thing about limiting beliefs is that we are most of the time unaware of our limiting beliefs. And if for different people, it could mean different things. It could be your paradigm about something, your paradigm about relationships, about money, about career, about yourself. There's another person, another speaker I know that calls it, is it a useful belief or a not so useful belief? It could be negative thoughts, negative thinking, but or limiting belief. But really, no one is immune to it, right? Like you said, we are born as perfect, pure human beings. Psychologically, we're like blank canvases. And it's really, at the end of the day, no one really means to give us limiting beliefs. They're just teaching us what they know, which almost all of the time is not the best serving belief for us because we are unique. And so I guess for me personally, the first thing is to be open to the fact that we do have beliefs, and it's a matter of asking ourselves, well, is this belief serving me right now, or has it served me at all?
Exactly.
Because when you say, I want to ask you this, Dua, is that like you did, so you crossed the threshold of a really tough divorce, heartbreaking, not just for you, but for the people involved. You crossed that threshold and then you made a decision. Okay, I want this to be about me. How am I going to do this? So you started consuming a lot of personal development materials, and then you ran into the practice of rapid transformational therapy. You had the openness. You had the, I'm here, show me what I can do. Well, my question to you becomes, um, often someone might come to you thinking that I want to heal. But I find, for example, with my own clients, some of them, they have the intention, but because they're not quite prepared of the intensity of the healing experience, um, they become blocked by the realization that, oh, or a memory or a remembering. So show us what it looks like for a person going through rapid transformational therapy, going through the ups and the downs and the valleys and the deeps.
So we use a lot of tools in rapid transformational therapy. We don't use only traditional hypnotherapy, even though it is in the core of rapid transformational therapy, but it's not the only tool. So we have a lot of other therapies, a lot of other tools under our belt that we can use depending on the situation. So for example, if a client starts working with me and then we find after the session that that there is some resistance to healing, then we might take another session addressing the resistance. Why do they resist? So we try our best to get to the root cause. And even during the session, when we address a certain, because when regressing the client during the session, we regress the client to at least three scenes to get to the root cause.
Mm.
And even during the session, let's say we are addressing procrastination, okay? And then when we're addressing procrastination, another belief, the underlying belief underneath procrastination showed in the scene, which let's say I'm not enough, or I'm not worthy, or I'm useless. Okay, I'm useless, so then I'm not going to do anything, and I'm going to procrastinate forever. So then we take this underlying belief and we address it. I am useless. Why do you think you're useless? Let's go back to an event or scene or time when you first thought you're useless. Whose idea is that?
Mm.
Okay, who gave you that belief?
Mm.
So as I just mentioned, it's not only so the thing is, when a client comes with an issue, the issue is not the problem. The issue is a symptom of an underlying belief. And most often than not, it's that belief that caused the issue or that caused the problem.
Mm.
So the procrastination can be, underneath procrastination can be, I'm not enough, or it's not available to me.
Mm.
Okay, so in general, there are three beliefs that are the main reason behind all the issues that any of us have, regardless of what is this issue. I'm different, so I cannot connect. I'm not enough. It's not available to me. I want it, but I can't have it because it's not available to me. So those are the three main beliefs that are the underlying beliefs underneath any issue that any of us might have. And the most common is I'm not enough.
Mm. So true. There are in the book Think and Grow Rich. Now, a lot of people think that this book is about money. Yes, it is, but it's really about life. And there are some really basic limiting beliefs that he has summarized there, and you were on point when you said that. As I warned everyone on this at the before the beginning of the interview, we do go deep, and as you have noticed, like Dua had explained, the healing journey has layers and layers and layers and layers. Now, to just make that a little bit more practical, a little bit more easier to wrap our heads around, if you will. What I'll do is I'm going to ask you, Dua, as I will share myself with my own experience, is that what happens is that specifically for the women who have gone through estrangement, divorce, separation, and having that feeling of profound emptiness, that all of a sudden you don't have a partner, your life is in shambles, and you're going to move forward as a single parent, single mom. And so that kind of feeling when you're going through that, the reason that the healing journey is deep, and as Dua has been explaining, is because that separation itself, the divorce, if you will, let's just put it out there, essentially is a culmination of a accumulation of beliefs that you have about yourself as a woman. In my case, for example, I did. I was married I was in a marriage where I got into the marriage because I had a belief that that was all that I deserved, right? And it was that belief was a derivative of experiences that led me to believe that I'm not good enough, that I'm not loved, I don't belong, from an abandonment. And that's the only reason why when you make the decision to start healing, that the healing itself has layers. So it's just like going through a cycle that you're meant to go through anyway. And it really is a more fun journey than it sounds, because you rediscover yourself. You reinvent yourself is the best thing. I was telling Dua earlier that as a single mom, a while, long time back, I had a shift in my energy where I came from, oh, I'm a single mom and I can't do this, to one day when I realized, OMG, I'm a single mom. I have so it's just it's a shift. So now I want to ask you, Dua, you're passionate about helping women and inspiring them that there is a way for reinvention and rediscovering of yourself. Tell me about this experience.
So, divorce pushed me to find myself again or to rediscover who I am because after the divorce, I felt so disconnected with myself. And as a child, I was never taught how to deal with my emotions. I was a very intellectual child, and I still am. I consider myself a very intellectual woman. But I was that intellectual girl who has no clue how to deal with her emotions. And I used to oppress my emotions, ignore how I feel, just bottle them up, and it was really painful. So divorce put me put me in front of a mirror,
Mm.
like you, this is how you feel, and you have to feel your feelings. There's no way out, no escape. So you got to learn how to deal with that. So I thought to myself, I'm not gonna run away. I'm not gonna escape my emotions anymore. I'm not gonna ignore my emotions. I have to learn how to handle my emotions. I have to learn how to deal with them. I have to understand how emotions work. And this is actually what RTT helped me with. It helped me understand. It provided me with practical tools on how to handle my emotions, how to understand them. And so oftentimes now, like before, long before I started RTT, it was very difficult for me to confront myself, or to, when I feel sad or angry or any kind of negative emotion, to tap in into my heart and ask myself, okay, so how do I feel now? What do I feel? Okay, I feel angry, or um, I feel sad, or I feel hurt, or I feel this, or I feel that, and then ask myself why.
Mm.
Why do I feel that way? Okay, what do I do about it? I used to try to distract myself, but now I don't distract myself from my negative emotions. I tell myself, okay, so this feeling is here, it has to be felt, and then I do something about it. I journal, for example.
Mm.
I try to find a way to release my emotions. Sometimes I even do a whole RTT session on myself because I'm my own first client. So it's or part of a session, because even parts of some parts of the session also has huge release. So it provided me with really powerful tools on how to deal with my emotions, which was something really tricky to me. It was like uncharted waters for
Mm.
me. I didn't know how to deal with my emotions at all, but now I really understand how I feel. And even when I feel like I'm regressing, I catch myself. I'm able to catch myself. Oh, wait a minute. Now you are reacting this way. This is not you now, not after what you learned. You used to react like that before, but now, not after what you learned, you can react this way. So pay attention, you're regressing. But at the same time, i don't I don't berate myself, I don't scold myself, I don't have that negative, harsh, hurtful inner dialogue that I used to have with myself long ago. So if I feel like I'm regressing or I'm doing something that I shouldn't do, I just tell myself, okay, I'm regressing. I understand that. I realize that now. I acknowledge it. And I understand that regression is part of growth. So maybe I did that now, uh, and I shouldn't have done it, but I'm learning, and I'm sure that next time I will react in a better way, or I will have a better response. I won't react, I respond. So it really provided me with powerful tools on how to be able to understand myself on a deeper level, how to be able to handle my emotions in a better way, in a much more healthy way.
Hmm. That's so powerful and so important. I mean, show me a woman who does not have issues with her emotions. Come on now. Whether you're an intellectual woman or non-intellectual, just being a woman, all that cycles and just we are just flow. We are creative and we are this way. We are just we live life in a cyclical manner, and we do have emotions, and it's a gift to have emotions is a gift. And how we create a disservice to ourselves is when we don't know how to deal with those. It's amazing that you and I are talking about this, because I was driving my son this morning to school, and he was asleep next to me, mind you. 17 years old. They do like to sleep in. So I was thinking while I was driving about, when you heal yourself, it doesn't mean that you don't get triggered anymore. You still do. We're human beings, like you said. You use the word regression, and it's part of growth. So I do. But the difference is that when I get triggered nowadays, I know how to. I am aware of the trigger, and I'm aware of my reaction, and most importantly, I know how to heal myself after the trigger, after the encounter. And that's important, because this is what happens when Dua was explaining before. She didn't know how to acknowledge how she felt, how she's feeling. And a lot of us are like this. We don't know how to acknowledge how we're feeling and why we feel that way, or even what to do with it. Because for the longest time, I used to just go into these verbal combats with people that triggered me, and I would just come out fully wounded, and like spiritually wounded, and just walk my world and my life with no arms and legs, and just shot to the head, and just spiritually speaking, I didn't know how to heal myself, because I didn't know how to acknowledge that I was wounded, that I'm angry, that I had all these emotions. And the healing part is when you know how to patch yourself up, because you're aware. You have the self-love, you have the forgiveness. And I think this is where the fun part begins, is when you start to rediscover yourself, and give yourself that love. And tell me what that's like. What were the signs that you were coming back to you, and becoming one and integrating back to you?
So there are a lot of signs of self-love. I would say that one huge sign of self-love is when you stop needing to have validation from any source but within. This is a huge sign of self-love. That
Can we
and
say that again?
oftentimes
Can we say it again? I love it. Please.
a huge sign of self-love is when you realize that you do not need anyone to validate you, because you validate yourself. You don't need validation from any outside source, because you have validation within. You validate yourself. So oftentimes women are nice, and actually, for a woman to be nice, this is a sign of coping mechanism from childhood. And oftentimes, one of the parents was strict, or made the child feel, or made whether whether men or women, but mostly women, they feel that they have to earn love. And that's why when they try to be nice to gain the acceptance of the parent. But
Mm.
understanding that you are the only person who validates you, and if validation comes from outside, then this will be complementary. Then you stop to be nice to people when you shouldn't be nice to them.
Yeah.
So, this is one sign. Another sign of self love is when you stand up for your values first and foremost. So self-love is not about being selfish. It's about putting yourself first. Putting yourself first means when you are in a situation where you have to choose between someone you love or being nice to someone over standing up for your values and what you believe in and what you stand for as a person, you choose your values. This is when you know that you love yourself.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember a time many, many, many years ago when I was still in corporate, and there was I had a colleague who was a little bit senior than I was, and there was bullying going on in the workplace, and I came to a point where I could not go to work because of it. And I had to choose between the value of having to cope with the bullying so that I can pay my bills as a single mom, or my sanity so that I can live my life with a full heart. I had to come to that.
Mm.
And I did take the risk, and I did say something. Anyway, to cut the long story short, it does serve you, because what happened was 6 months later on, I was promoted to my first leadership role. But it's a scary, scary move. But what I can promise is, as scary as it is, there's only one outcome, which is you choose yourself. And the ultimate outcome is self respect, self love. And for Dua and myself, who's, one of the biggest values that we share is our children, the ultimate result is that your children see what you do. They're role model of, the
Exactly.
decisions that you make. And
Exactly. And when you stand up for yourself and for your values, it is really empowering,
hmm,
really.
amazing. So in the interest of time, I could go on with this topic all day long. I love talking about empowerment. But before I do ask you, Dua, how we can have more of you, because what you do is very, very important. I want to ask one last question to the women who's listening to us about self reinvention, self rediscovery, because I think this is one of the best things that can you can ever do in one lifetime is self reinvention, self rediscovery. You might want to do it once or twice in a span of 80 years if you live that long, but it's just such a fun time in your life. So I want to ask you, when you made a decision on, I want to make this about myself, and then you started consuming all those beautiful personal development products and podcasts and whatnot. What was the most fun part? Can you share with us a really, really fun part?
A fun part was when I started reading about a new topic, which is spirituality. And the way I found out about spirituality is I'm a fan of Oprah Winfrey. So I used to listen to her podcasts, and Oprah Winfrey, in one of her episodes, she invited Eckhart Tolle, and she was discussing one of his books, A New Earth. And then after the podcast, I thought to myself, I got to read this book. And I got the book, I read it, and it helped me. At that time, anxiety was like on top of
Mm,
the roof. So it really helped me bring anxiety to a controllable level, even though the book itself is not a psychology book. It is a spirituality book.
mm,
And then I started to after that I started to follow other spiritual teachers such as Gary Zukav. Gary Zukav is one of my best as well. And one of the things that one of the episodes that I like that in which Oprah Winfrey invited Gary Zukav when he was talking about when she was discussing his in a chapter in his book about setting intention. And what I do now is that I I tend to be a very forgetful person. So I have reminders on my phone. And one of the reminders that I have on my phone is to set intention for the day ahead. Okay, what's my intention for today? So this is one thing that I learned. Another fun thing in that journey is the amount of people that I met, and the number of friends that I made in my RTT journey. I met some amazing people in my RTT journey. It's
Mm.
it's really it's really beautiful how such how people think differently now. I mean, 10 years ago, didn't hear anything about self-love. The only time I heard about, or the first time I heard about self-love was when one of my colleagues at work was having a master's degree, an MBA, and she was saying that they study psychology in MBA. So I was really interested and said, "Oh, you really study psychology in MBA? I didn't know that." And she said, "Yes." And then she asked me a question. She said, "I'll ask you a question that the professor asked me to measure your self-awareness." And she asked me, "Who is the most important person in your life?" I said, "Me." She said, "You have a high degree of self-awareness. This is the correct answer." She said, "I give the wrong answer." When the professor asked her, she said, "My dad." She said, "That's a wrong answer. The most important person in your life should be you." And when she told me that, I didn't know anything about self-love then. And when she told me that, I told her, "Yes, I am the most important person in my life because I am the main character of my story. I look at my life as a story, and I am the main character in my story. If somebody else is the main character, then who am I? Then this is not my life. This is
Wow,
someone else's life."
powerful.
So that, yeah. So that was the first time I ever heard of self-love. But then years after, when I went through the divorce, this is when it was the time when I started to consume a lot of materials that has to do with self-love and what is self-love and how can we love ourselves. And it's really eye-opening.
Mm. Thank you so much. There's so many beautiful, beautiful nuggets you've shared there. The book that changed my life is The Power of Now, which is also Eckhart Tolle. I love conversations between him, and Oprah Winfrey. I don't know if you've listened to this one, and I'm going to tell a quick story. There was a podcast between Oprah Winfrey and Eckhart Tolle, and what Oprah likes to do is at the end of the podcast, she would ask these rapid fire questions that the guest would answer, and so it would be something rapid fire like, what's your favorite color, what's your favorite food, and so the guest had to answer that, and so she said to Eckhart Tolle, what do you believe in? And Eckhart Tolle said, nothing in particular. And it was, I love that because
Oh, oh
it's,
my
and
God.
you get this, right? Between you and I, it's a big laugh, but it's beautiful. I was just, and it was an unforgettable moment for me. But I guess the most inspiring thing I took out from what you just shared there, Dua, is that we all have light inside of us, no matter how long ago we've forgotten it. We all believe in ourselves. At the end of the day, we know who we are and what we're truly capable of. The only thing is that we code it with limiting beliefs. Don't worry about sugar coating. We're limiting belief coding our true self belief and self love, but it's in there somewhere. And
Yeah.
it's our job in Women Unleashed to unravel that for you because we believe in you. Now, Dua, I want to ask you, how can we follow you? How can we work with you? And how can we get to know more of you? I will be posting all your social media links and your website on the comments below of this video. But tell us where we can find you.
So I have a Facebook business page. It's called Liberated You. And I also have an Instagram account, a professional Instagram account. It's also called Liberated You underscore hypnosis. And you can also reach me on my website, liberatedYouHypno.com. So all those are ways that people can reach me, and they can text me directly on my Facebook page.
Awesome. It's been wonderful having you here. I'm very, very grateful. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in with us. Did you have one last snippet of wisdom before we say goodbye, please?
Yes, just believe that you are worthy.
Because you are. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys again. And until then, we love you and we believe in you. Thank you. Bye.